Hi! In this video, I will tell you what are the typical questions you may be asked in an oral defense and the respective answers you should give. Let's start. First question. Why did you choose this topic? If you are asked this question, which is a very common question, what you should answer is the following. First, for personal reasons, because I like the topic, I am passionate about it, I have an affinity with the topic, a family member or friend has made me aware of the topic, working on it is within my personal dreams, and so on. Second, because of the environmental relevance. If your topic has something to do with the environment, then use that to justify your project. You can also talk about social relevance. Well, I chose this topic because it is humanly very important and I want to contribute to the well-being. I want to generate quality of life or health for someone, contribute to social development, etc. If your topic directly has to do with building or developing a company, that is an excellent reason, and you can also relate it to the previous point of social relevance by saying that you are going to contribute to economic growth, not only yours, but for society in general. Second question, what difficulties did you have and how did you overcome them? This question is also very common. Here you are expected to talk about the obstacles just like the athlete in the picture on the left, who is pushing through to get to the finish line. Well, share the difficulties you had to overcome throughout your project. It is important that you talk about the solutions in the sense that you had to adapt and be smart to overcome all those obstacles. So that means a little bit of praise, but without sounding egotistical, but humble and honest. Saying, well, I faced this obstacle and it was difficult for me, but I managed to overcome it this way. Also, talk about the negative surprises, those things that surprised you, where you thought things were going to be different, but you found that there was a reality that you did not know, and that was complex, problematic, challenging, and mention how you dealt with those surprises and overcame them. A third possibility is that you are asked what weaknesses your work had. In that case, you should talk about what you would do better if you had the opportunity. Try to think honestly about what things in your project are not excellent, what things you would change if you were to start your project from scratch again. From your experience, from what you learn, what things you could do better if you had a second chance. Also, you can talk about what things you learned from the mistakes you made, from your personal growth, from the maturity you reached, from the knowledge you developed. And finally, make a self-criticism. This is very important because it reflects a certain maturity and critical thinking, which is very valuable. Look at yourself as a kind of judge. Judge yourself and criticize your work, highlighting that it was very well done in certain things, but there were weaknesses because nobody's perfect and we all make missteps sometimes. A fourth possible question is what your work brings to the table compared to previous studies. Here you should talk about what is new, what is original that you are proposing. Obviously, for this you must know what others have done, what the background of your work was. You have to show that you know the work of other people on the same topic, the previous advances, to compare them with yours. Say something like, well, I contributed this compared to what was already there, and talk about what you discovered, how you managed to explore a previously unexplored territory, innovate. Finally, you may be asked about the methodology, theoretical framework, etc. In fact, the questions are at the end of your oral defense. So at this point, you have already presented the objectives, hypothesis, methodology, theoretical framework, conclusions. However, some of the evaluators may want you to go deeper and clarify some points. So it is possible that they may ask you questions such as which were the most influential authors in your work, your main references, and how their theories are reflected in your work. Also, how did you select the sample? Share what was the process to select the participants of the study. They may ask you what your most relevant results are. This should have already been explained in the results sections. So tell them, well, going back to the part of the presentation where I talked about the results, I want to emphasize that the most relevant ones were these and these for the following reason. Or they may ask you what you recommend for future research. You must prepare to mention something like, from what I have managed to study and propose, I consider that new research topics could be these. I think that the best way to approach new research would be the following. And I think that the best techniques to approach similar topics in the future should be the following. So, remember, the top 5 typical questions are 1. Why did you choose this topic? 2. What difficulties did you have in the process and how did you overcome them? 3. What weaknesses does your work have? 4. What is the contribution of your project compared to previous works? And 5. Doubts about methodology, theoretical framework, etc. And that's all. It's easy.